Detailer's Roadmap Cruise Control, where we navigate the roadways of life, business, and everything in between. Hey guys, it's Kevin Davis from the Cruise Control Podcast. We are here at WFCT and Auto Glass Week.
Yes.
We're here with the Tintwiz guys, Kato, and Erik. And what I'll do is I'll let you guys kind of introduce yourself, kind of give me an idea of a little bit of your backstory and what Tintwiz is. I know we're a little bit shorter this time. If you haven't listened to Erik's original podcast episode, go listen to that. Super good. But kind of let's just give a retake on that.
Yeah, so Tintwiz is a CRM software. It's for window tinters, detailers, paint protection. It's really able to be used by anything, but mainly used by window tinters. And it manages everything from capturing the lead all the way to scheduling, invoicing, review requests, communications. I mean, really everything you need to have a proper workflow for your business.
Yeah.
And it was originally developed alongside a business that I had that I sold in 2018, and that's when we worked to introduce it to the public. And we've been used by tinters and other companies around the country since then.
Awesome. And what are your roles?
I guess my title is Chief Education Coordinator. So
aren't those titles funny? Mine is Director of Revenue Development. So I got a director in mind. So I don't know if that makes me less important or more important. Probably less.
I mean, ultimately, my goal is to just kind of take things off his plate.
Yeah.
As much as I can.
But really, his
almost like a COO role on the education front.
Exactly. I mean, his role is
small companies. It's all made up.
That's right.
His role focuses around education. So that means education through social media, education at these events, education at dealer conferences we attend, education just any way that we can build content, put it on YouTube, in person, whatnot. But our goal is basically, it really focuses around educating, right? We want to educate people what our software does, how to use it properly, because when you use the software, if you use the software, even if you don't use all of the software, you will see success. That is something that I feel so proof is in the pudding. If you use it mostly, you will find tremendous success. It will be your favorite app. But at the same time, somebody using it, maybe they need a little push, they need a little assistance and so on. So we're always working on different ways that we can make that happen. One of those being our booth this year. The focus was provide hospitality, but also we have like people who know Wiz. There are Wiz users in there, and we stack the booth with Wiz users so that people can come in, and if they have a question, what is Tintwiz? How do I use it? Well, this is my shop. They're talking to other users. They don't need to talk to us. Like they can talk to other users.
Yeah. So you guys have a bunch of actual end users in the booth to talk to potential customers and or other end users.
Exactly, and that kind of, I think, is one highlight of how we have done things for the last, since inception really is, okay, look, if we're gonna stack our booth with users, that means we can use our resources instead of towards salespeople. It can go back into our industry. It can help get people here. It can help make it a better experience for them. It works. It's just a way to, invest in the community, and it just works out. As opposed to paying outside people to come in.
Right, for sure. Or just sales and try, all of that stuff. I spent a lot of my life in the detailing side of things, not the tint side of things, but I assume the industries are pretty similar. What kind of education, are you particularly focused on, this is Tintwiz app, I'm focused on this, or are you also doing education? Because, Gary V, first of all, I just want to say that I'm not sure I saw the two of you guys together. I was convinced that you guys were the same person when you were up there. I was like, hey, look, there's Gary V.
Oh.
You're like his doppelganger.
Thank you.
That is especially when he had his hat backwards. I'm like, look, dude, that's Erik.
I'll take that compliment all day long. Thank you.
But he was talking about using all sorts of content, like even educating the tent customers.
Yeah.
Do you guys kind of focus on any of that in terms of the content creation?
So there has been instances where we feel like, we can make a splash with end consumer that could have a trickle effect into, leading towards, like, if an end consumer understands that they're gonna have a better experience with a shop that uses Tintwiz, it could make them more aware of window tinting in a way, and also, kind of have a tint shop see the value, okay, in potentially using it. Because again, we're not, like, basically in the window tint industry, the way we see it is, there's a larger portion not using anything,
right.
than using something.
Yeah.
So it's not a matter of like what's the best. It's more like the challenge is showing why using just Apple Calendar, just Google Calendar. I had a gentleman I was speaking to yesterday is tremendously successful with a big staff, and he was making a joke that he got his arm tattooed and the other arm is going to end up being a notepad. He's going to do lines like an old school notepad because he uses a permanent marker every day, not a pen, a permanent marker to make sure it lasts throughout the day with all his notes. And he said, I have sticky pads inside my office and the sticky notes have sticky notes on the sticky notes. So like, to me, that is who we need to educate, why it is significantly better to use a software than that.
Relying on paper.
As opposed to saying like, no, our software's better than this software, whatnot. It really isn't. It's just try it, and you're gonna make that decision for yourself.
Yeah.
But we got to get you into the digital world to be able to make that decision to begin with.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I mean, the one thing I took from Gary's speech yesterday was, if you can't like target, like the one person asked if, you know, there's a lot of contractors that are construction contractors. How do I get to them? Because they're like heads into their business.
Mm-hmm.
So like, my idea is, you know, now if we can hit an end consumer of like a younger kid or something, like, hey, if your dad is at the tint shop all day long and you don't get to see him, show him this video because it's going to save him time. And then you can target so many different audiences in so many different ways. And Gary's like content is on point with so many little hacks.
I love this idea of like, if your dad makes more money, he'll buy you a new car.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. I mean, there's so many different ways to do it, and I mean that was like an eye opener for me because I've, in addition to Detailer's Roadmap, I have a couple of brands myself, and you know, trying to figure out, okay, which social media do I target and how do I target? Because are my consumers there? And I was like, light bulb that it doesn't really matter. Like you can get to those targets either way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
So with Tintwiz, what are guys using now? Like, and like, what do you feel like your market share is in terms of like people that are using software versus the guy writing in permanent market?
I mean, there's no doubt that people that are using software in the window film industry, we have, just if we're segmenting just people using software, I'd say we have the very, very high majority of them. But the majority of tinters are not using the software.
So like 10% of the market is probably using any kind of software?
I think that's a fair number. It depends if you want to count like Google Calendar. Does that count as a software?
I wouldn't count it, right?
Because it's
no,
just a
digital CRM. It doesn't do anything.
Right. So I would say it might be 10%. It might be lower. I think using a CRM in this industry.
And typically, what are they doing? They're just writing hand estimates, or just on their arm, or
no,
like,
it's a calendar. A lot of times
Excel
it's
and
paper.
calendar
They'll have a big
and
board,
QuickBooks maybe.
whiteboards on their walls. A lot of times it's whiteboards. Everything's on a big whiteboard in their office. So if they're not in their office, they can't adjust the schedule. So they get a call outside the office. Okay, I cancel or a new appointment or not. Okay, I got to put that in the office for tomorrow. Let me put that in my phone and text it or write it. When I get in there, if I forget to put that on the wall, we're going to find out when the customer comes in. And those are the little mistakes, like, you know, it's beyond just not the ability, you can't scale it if that's how you're doing it, right? Unless you just keep building bigger walls, I guess. But beyond that, the thing that it does is it puts this pressure on you that you're always missing something. You're always behind. You always have a customer who you forgot who it was, or, you know, you didn't get back to, and all those things. And that sort of vibe in a business is not pleasant for the owner. It's especially not pleasant for staff. Right? And you don't want to work somewhere where you're getting chewed out. I don't want to pick up the phone if it might be somebody upset. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you want to minimize that stuff. So when a customer calls in and you're able to pull up their information before they're done telling you who they are, you've diffused a lot of anything. You've put yourself on an advantage point. And it, you know, using a software, using a method, a process, a fast and a good one, changes the whole environment of the business. It changes how customers interact with you. Everything about it.
Yeah. I love that because you're talking more about the intangible side of things. Your job enjoyment, how much fun it is, your employee morale, and all of those.
And the
things.
freedom.
Yeah, and most people don't think about that.
You have
right?
people
like,
here.
It's just a piece of software where I know my numbers better, right?
Yeah.
One of the things that I enjoy is hearing people here saying, I scheduled 3 appointments while I was watching Gary Vee. I used my phone, or I sold 2 proposals a few minutes ago. I sent them out, they got approved right away, and they're here at the convention. And that, you know, this is a moment in time, whether you come here or not, it is what it is, but do you want that freedom 360 days of your life to be able to walk out of your shop, or to be home one day and still be able to manage things and feel in control of your business?
Yeah.
Or to be able to say, hey, can you help me with something? Here's access. As opposed to, I'm sorry, you can't help me because I have it all in my head.
Do you think it's a situation where one of my products in particular in the detailing industry is a product that I basically had to teach people they needed?
Yes.
You know, it's like, that's probably what you guys see. Like, how do you bridge that gap? How do you educate people to know, you know, and let's talk about numbers. Like what kind of ROI, because that's what people want to hear, right? Well, you can double your revenue or whatever. We're not guaranteeing anything.
Yeah.
But those kind of things, like how do you bridge that gap to teach someone that you suck at what you're doing and we can help you suck less in terms of that side of the coin, right?
I'll give my 2 cents, and I want to hear Kado's side of this. But look, I think for me, it was knowing that it's going to take time. We should have patience, and everybody's going to be our Tintwiz user, whether it's currently or in the future.
Right.
So when somebody's, like, I don't know why I should use this, we're going to explain it, but we're not going to there's no push, and that's just
Right.
how we because if they use it now, they use it in a year from now or whatever. I'm really interested in the people who say, I want to use this. I'm looking for something. And those are the people we want to invest 100% of our time. And if you're like, I don't need that, I'm totally fine with that because you're going to see that you need it. Could be a year from now, could be 3 years from now. I'm fine with that. But we want to invest all of our energy into the people who want to use it. And because we only have so much energy, right? You can spend it selling people who are not interested or helping people who are interested. Any?
I mean, one of the things that is really beneficial to me is that before I worked for Tintwiz, I had a business and I used Tintwiz since day one. So I tell people all the time, like if I go to a shop to see them and bring some knapsacks and some free tools, Starbucks, everything, we're just there to add value to their day. Let them know that we're here if they need anything. And the fact that they ask me if I'm there to sell them anything, and I'm like, I'm not a sales guy. I'm here to add value to your day. I've used it personally, so I know that it's changed my life. I know that it's given me time to spend time with my family, hire people, scale stuff. All of the aspects of having the app absolutely was game changer for me. So like you said, it's about education, not about selling. I just tell you my story, and you're like, oh wow, I can relate to that. So if you can relate to it, and like you said, all the people at our booth are people that use it. They're not staff. They're not people that work for it. They're there because they believe in the product. So you're not selling anything. It's just adding value to your life.
And he said adding value a few times, right? Yeah. Which is something that it's obviously from Gary Vee, right? I would say that's the source of the concept of just add value, and this community has a border around it, right? Tint community is a tint community, or tint PPF detailing. It's a community, and we're not going anywhere. So we're not in a rush, and we do just want to add value to the community. And beyond that, it's before Tintwiz, this was an industry that I was still in. I had a tint company, and it provided for my family. So I want to give back to this industry. I want this industry to grow. We saw at this event Tommy Silva from TNT Tinting being inducted into the Hall of Fame, into the Window Tint Hall of Fame. And this is somebody who spent, I don't know, maybe 30 to 40, I might be undershooting it, decades, not just tinting windows, but advocating for tint laws and working with manufacturers and behind the scenes stuff. But I mean, this is somebody who's dedicated their life to it. You have Daryl Reed from the IWFA. I mean, I believe he's in his 80s. You wouldn't maybe know by looking at him, but I think he's in his 80s. And I want to say he spent 50 plus years, again, advocating for laws around the country. And he's still doing that. These are people who dedicated their lives and set they paved the way for everything that we're enjoying. I want to contribute to that too, for everyone else, right? In the future. And you owe it. Doesn't that make sense? What else are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
What are you doing,
And it's kind of crazy that a CRM like that can actually make people better business owners, right? Because if you're making them more money. And that's is that part, do you guys kind of help walk, because obviously as a business owner, you're a business owner, are you hey, this is, because that's what I try to do with anything that I do. It's well, I have this experience level or whatever, here's the product, but this is, I also see this in your business, and this is how everything fits together.
Hey, you know that little thing on your phone when you search and you say business near me? Well, people aren't finding you when they search for ceramic coating near me, detailing near me, tint shop near me, PPF shop near me. They're not finding you as well as they should, or they're not finding you in the areas that you'd like to. Detailer's Roadmap has a solution. I want to introduce our new Google Business and Maps Accelerator. we have got this great new program that not only gives you an opportunity to do some search engine optimization, SEO, but in a very specific way that is designed to be map friendly, Google business friendly, and in order to get you more leads in areas that you're currently in and areas that you also want to target that may be slightly out of your own area. So go to detailersroadmap.com, use that little schedule a demo button at the top, and tell them in that form that you want to do the Google Business and Maps Accelerator program. Take a look at that. It's very cost effective and a very entry level price, and it's awesome.
I think that happens on its own, but we don't necessarily do that with our clients because we're not, that kind of level of communication. Like we maintain the app. We're always updating the app, we're maintaining it, it's super fast. We've grown tremendously over the last 5 years and the app's only gotten faster.
Yeah.
We have a public uptime page, so you can see that the app is never down and so on. And that's really our focus. And then investing in the community and in education to where, I think that happens in situations like Cody, the Wiz trainer, is a user that has used Tintwiz for years. He's second generation. His dad was doing things old school, and his dad paved the way with the business, but the business had tripled or quadrupled since they started using Tintwiz because of that second generation vision of like, hey, we should use a software, Dad. So they work together now, they're doing tremendously, and he helps other users with Tintwiz on his own, separately from anything to do with us. And I think that's where those situations are where he can identify like, hey,
Yeah.
this is also a problem in your business and so on. And we have a lot of users. There's Sean Roach from New York, very popular on YouTube, Window Tint Warriors. He's another one where he does consulting, and Patrick Lapman. They'll do consulting with people where they're setting up their Tintwiz or they're helping them with it, and that's where that overlap is. But we don't really dig deep into the business.
Well, I think that's great because you've got the community, right? I assume that, Facebook groups and all of those things, right? So then the community can serve the community, and those that are in the upper tier, whether it's for pay or anything, they can coach and guide the rest of the community.
And because it's a community, like the focus also is like, okay, how do we get our message out through the community? Because if the message is coming through the community, we know we've hit the mark. We know it's accurate, honest, and exactly, right? As opposed to trying to be a company that we're trying to be the ones who convey the message all the time, then your focus becomes the message, but does the product match the message? Who knows? But if the message is coming from other people, it's undeniable, you've obviously hit the mark because, so the focus is always on the product, right? And if the product's the best, the rest works out.
Walk me through kind of the highlights of the product, just so that people understand, and then kind of what you typically see throughout, doubled, quadrupled the business of that second generation. Kind of walk me through some of that, just so that everybody's aware of that, because it's unique in the industry, right? Like it's not like there's 25 CRMs that are out there. So let's walk through that.
So the core of that is simplicity, right? Because what led to this happening was seeing what options existed, both in our industry and outside our industry, and is that going to work? And what will it be like to train somebody? What will it be like for me to learn it? Then what will it be like to train somebody? So that was why Tintwiz was like a must, because I didn't find anything in the market that was simple and that I could train staff on, and that was like reasonably priced and so on. So, like I said, the inception of Tintwiz was building it for our own company. And what that meant was solving the actual biggest bottlenecks in the company, solving the biggest problems where you can streamline an aspect of the company and you can save a huge amount of time and have an enormous impact without cluttering the app with confusing things that don't work all the time, that nobody uses, that makes it a hard to use app. So I'll give you an example. One of the first things that was in Tintwiz was the ability to, when somebody's calling in, you're putting the information directly in there. And if you get their address, you can see where they are and where other appointments for mobile businesses. You can see that instantly. So before they're done telling you their address, you know the rest of their address because it's connected with Google Maps. You're looking at it on a map and you're comparing it to where you're going to be. So you can say, we're going to be in your area. We're down the street from you on so-and-so Boulevard, or you can finish their zip code before they've told you, and you've instantly connected with them. And that, related to like flat glass and obviously mobile tinters.
Yeah.
And then from there, it's that workflow of smooth and fast, being able to send proposals, send quotes, give people the ability to be out on a job and do everything they need without having to go back to the office and get into Excel and send an email, jump into another program and so on, syncing with QuickBooks instantly so you're not going into QuickBooks, and handling all the stuff that's in between, like being able to save your before and after pictures, do walk around videos of your vehicles or homes and save them in there. So when you go to do your marketing, right, and hey, I'm building a new website, right, or whatever it is, I need pictures for Facebook, or they're all there with the project, with every detail. When you have to look back at a project a year later, there it is. When the customer calls a week later and says, you dented my car, here are the before and after pictures, there's no dent there. Like, it's, you know, when you're done with the project, an automatic review request going out and reminders, so you're not having to do that as well or pay an additional software. A lot of people use Nice Job. Nice Job's around $70 a month for review requests, 50 to 70 depending on your package. Well, we built it into, knowing that, right? We saw most of our users using Nice Job before it was in Tintwiz. We added it in Tintwiz. We didn't charge a penny, and Tintwiz is $100 a month, right? So for $100 a month, you run your entire business, unlimited staff, all the storage, SMS, like the text messages, the emails, absolutely everything. It's $100 a month. Like,
I wish some of my PPC would have that ROI, because I know that that's like, you know, you're like 100x.
it's $100 a month, and it's been $100 a month for the last, since it was inception, since day one. We never changed the price, you know, and like that's the goal. Again, wasn't like how much money can we make. It was like, no, how can we make the biggest impact in the industry? We have to charge something, right? If we do it for free, you can't do it for free. And then, you know, our customers have to be the tint shops. We're not a data company. The data's theirs. We're a bank. We hold their information. It's secure. We take that extremely seriously. So we make our money from that $100. Could we charge $200? Absolutely. But would that affect how many users? Well, how many people in this industry would consider using it? Absolutely. Now, would we make more money? Probably. But would less people use it and have the benefit for their own business? Absolutely. So I would rather more people use it and have the benefit than just saying net profit.
Yeah.
I want it to be something accessible to every shop, because it shouldn't be, I have to have a big shop to get this and spend a lot of money to get this. What if you're just starting off? You shouldn't start off right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
I mean, for small, especially small mobile guys or whatever, $100 is nothing. I mean,
Nothing.
It's, you know, it's so cheap.
And we did unlimited users to encourage best practices, because if you charge per user, everybody uses the same username.
Yeah.
But if you let everybody have their own username, now you're seeing, oh, Mary just scheduled that. Oh, John attended to that lead really quick. Oh, I see, you know, Michael just talked to that customer and now I'm going to follow up, because you see what everybody's doing in the app. So it becomes the hub of the business as opposed to the owner being the hub and everything being around them.
Yeah.
The CRM becomes the hub and now everybody works together.
Yeah. And it's a very unique proposition. I was an app developer way back in the day, and some of the apps we developed, I had no idea about the industry we were developing the app for. But when you have, like, you developed it in real time, in real life, you fixed everything. I mean, you continue to evolve, obviously, but to have an app developed by the people that is an end user, you know, at least that's pretty crazy. So what else is going on at the show? I mean, you guys were partial sponsors of the Gary
Yeah,
Vee
we were
thing,
co-sponsored. We co-sponsored Gary Vee speaking yesterday with Autobahn, and I mean, I had a blast. I don't know.
It was awesome. I almost got to my question, and then and he had to go to the Jets, but that's okay.
You weren't one of the. You didn't get hit in the chest with a shirt, did you?
No, I was hoping you would shoot it with me. I was ready. It went too far over my head. Eric was shooting, you know, cannons.
We had t-shirt cannons, and the first time we tested them was a couple hours before that. So the first one went into the ceiling before the test. So anyway, there's people in the front row like, send it to me. I'm like, you'll die. Like, no.
There's a good kick behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool. So what's the thought process in terms from a branding standpoint? Because that's not cheap. Right, Gary Vee is not doing this for free, like, you know, but it's like that's an investment that you guys are making, and is that just part of that mentality and philosophy of investing back into the industry?
Yeah, I mean, Gary Vee's DNA runs through our business. Simply, like I've been following him for about 9-10 years. Since his USC talk went viral, that's the one that I saw. So that was back when I had a window tint business, and he was the reason why I felt confident in just going all in on Google Ads at the time, because his story about how Google Ads were underpriced for his father in the wine business, well, they were still underpriced in the window tint business 10 years later from when he was telling that story. So he said, I should have gone, I killed it, but I should have put all of the money there because I didn't need to spread it out. That was a pivotal moment for my company at the time, year 2, because I was thinking, we're killing it. We need billboards, we need radio ads, we need TV commercials. And then we said, no, we need to just keep dumping it into Google Ads and let it, the more it's in, the more we're doing business. We'll take that money, keep going and scale. And that's what led to going from 300 and change our first partial year to $1 million our second year to 2.3 our third year and to over 3 million our fourth year. And that's when we were able to exit the company. It was Gary Vee and a lot of his advice, right? And knowing the value of a system and a process and having developed that CRM. And knowing that when we had the opportunity to have Gary Vee come speak here, it seems like a once in a lifetime, I can't believe the universe is offering this. So I feel like it's a no-brainer, there's no brainer.
Yeah.
You know?
He was really good. If you haven't followed Gary Vee, Gary Vaynerchuk, he's awesome. And even if you're not in that social media space, the marketing space, he's
mental space.
Mental space.
So helpful.
Totally help your business. And what were your CACs and what were your customer acquisition costs at that time? Pretty inexpensive.
So, look, people reach out, people start a trial and then they might come back a year and a half later.
Yeah.
Some people start a trial, they put their credit card in and they're off to the races day one. Knowing that, we just
I'm
don't.
on your tent business. You don't have to get proprietary information.
Oh, no, not proprietary. I'm sorry. I was just saying, we just look at it like I said, if in a year from now, 2 years, 4 years, whatever, I guess that's where my mind went. But so the way we looked at the numbers in Google Ads when we were scaling it up was basically our average cost per consultation cost per consultation was about $10 cost per click was about $10. And for 10 consultations we went on, we would sell at least 7 of them. Okay. And if you average those cost of sales, it would average at least $1,000 per, so for $100 worth of ads, we could average about $7,000 worth of sales, right? So at that point, we ramped up our Google ads, and then alongside we ramped up our Yelp ads. But I'll tell you how much when we say ramped up. There was a point where we had 2 websites running Google ads, so we had first and second, and then we would run a Google ad to our Yelp page because we had by far the best Yelp page. So we would take up 3 spots in the Google ads just to dominate, and then we also did organic. But that's how heavily we invested. So at our peak, we were spending over $30,000 in Google ads a month, and we had about 20,000 going to Yelp ads a month. And we didn't sustain that forever. There was a peak, but that also helped us to build our reviews faster because the more business we had going, the more work more people we could hire, the more we could keep them busy, but the more reviews we could get up significantly over everybody else. Once our reviews stood out, you know how that trickles too. So you don't want to be, if your competitor has 80 reviews and you have 102 and you're going up by 3 a day, you guys are basically the same. But if you can get to 1,200 reviews by the time he gets to 150 reviews, his 150 looks like nothing. Yeah. So it is a scaling thing. You want to be aggressive. That job does matter, you know?
And I bet most people in the industry are not. You say CAC and CPC and ROAS and all those, they're like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's fair, but it's more, I would encourage people to
but they
believe
should learn it.
It's more simple than you think.
There's something wrong with it. I'm just saying that's something they should.
It's more simple than you think is what I'm saying to anybody listening is you don't have to be a genius. You kind of understand the basics. That'll get you dangerous enough to make some money. And then of course you can hire a professional company potentially to scale it from there and to understand how much more there is, how much more juice there is to squeeze than maybe you got it. But the basics are basic.
Yeah, because Google and Facebook, they want your money.
They teach you.
They don't want to make it hard. I get my pop-up all the time. Would you like to speak to your Meta representative? You spend enough, they give you a Meta rep and you can talk to them and all that stuff. So they make it easy.
A tip there also is Google, for Google Ads, they offer different, sure different certifications, right? Different levels. It's free to take it, I believe, at least this is the first one. So having an admin person and saying, hey, over the next month, I want you to take this course and take the test and so on, you're teaching your admin Google Ads. What is the problem there? Google's put together a course for free and you have somebody who you could take the course. Why aren't you letting them take the course?
Yeah, I send my VA. I'll have my VA who is actually in the Philippines. A great VA. You can find really, really good ones. But I'll be like, hey, I need you to learn this part of my email nurture program. And she'll spend 2 weeks learning that, which doesn't cost me very much money, and then she can run that part of it, and I can go do something else.
And I'll share one more tip that we did in our window tint company that I think was tremendous was when we would hire somebody new, I feel very strongly in having admins, right? Because they're able to handle all those miscellaneous things to keep the big money tasks moving, right? So when we'd hire an admin, their first job was to look through a previous job that we did that week or the week before, and they would look in the CRM, right? They would see the pictures, they would see the film, they would see whatever it is, and then they could Google it, and I would ask them to write a blog post, use the pictures and write a blog post. They could spend a day, 2 days writing the blog post, no problem. But after a week or two, we had a handful of blog posts, which are gonna bring us business forever, and that person now just learned about the projects we're doing. And there would be the next step. Next step, answer an email, but don't hit send, and we'll check it over. And then the next step is send out quotes, but we'll check them before you send them out, the ones that you didn't. And then the next step was answer the phone, right? And then before you know it, you have this fully trained person. But that blog post, just that slow learning,
Right.
but adding value is better than throwing them in and going like, learn everything now. You're picking up the phone and they're clueless and that chaos. Just
That's a super good tip. I've actually never heard that tip.
let
Very
people
good. That's awesome.
be your marketing within your business as well. It's a way to invest in your business and taking that money and throwing it outside to another company, which isn't bad. Of course, you need that. If you're getting a return, that's what you want, but it's a way to hire and make it worth it and give a little space to learn without wasting the money, right? Because you don't want to train somebody for 3 weeks and you got nothing. But if you train them for 3 weeks and they were doing that, you might have got 3 to 5 to 6 blog posts. Those will pay for that 3 weeks of that person.
Absolutely. Well, I know you guys got to get, speaking of business, you guys got to get to work. So
We're playing Whiz Pong today.
Whiz Pong, what's that?
I hope you can come by. We have 30 True Spray kegs, custom True Spray kegs matching this theme. And you're gonna take Whiz Pong balls, you'll stand about 10 feet back, you'll throw the ping pong ball in. If it goes inside the keg, you win the keg.
Nice.
Until they're all gone, so.
I love it.
Yeah.
That'll be awesome. Any other parting thoughts from either of you?
The event's been incredible. It's been very good. Yeah.
It's our first time here, so it's been really
Amazing.
good.
Yeah.
If you aren't here and you can be here next year, wherever it is, highly recommend it. It's a couple days away from business and maybe away from family, but I think it's great ROI.
Yeah, and this is a heavy education one. Like, we kind of like that because the show hours are 1 to 6 on Thursday and Friday, and then 10 to 2 on Saturday. So the show hours, typically like SEMA or whatever, some of these shows are like 9 to 5 or 9 to 6 or whatever.
Long days.
And it's just, you kind of have to trade off, but this is nice because it's got a ton of education component and a ton, and then, all the
Networking,
Yeah.
yeah. There's a lot going on.
All right, so I forgot almost, one of the things I want to talk about is this. I've literally seen these. I walked in and there's probably 25 of these that I saw just walking in. So tell me about this bag, tell me about the idea, tell me about the giftology aspect of it and all that.
Yeah, so for the last couple of years, we've been sponsoring the bags for WFCT, so that gives us the opportunity to create these bags and then to be distributed at the registration. And it just, to me, was an opportunity to, instead of just like handing like a shopping bag that's kind of like whatever, like this now becomes, look, it's branding for us, of course, but this becomes a memorabilia piece, something that you can remember this event from, that you can like give to somebody, you can use, you can hang on to, and I don't know, I just think it's nice. You can collect throughout the events and so on. So
and it's purple, so it stands out on everybody's bag.
the branding
like
is
the
there for
branding's
sure.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah, so we just look for ways, again, that like, if we're going to, let's say, spend money in marketing, well, can it turn into something that's not just disposable, right? But something they can hang on to, keep, and use. And that's what we try to do at these events as well, is like, if you pick up a stress ball, like it's fun to squeeze a couple times, but once you go home, you don't really have a use for that.
Yeah.
But if I can give you a tool that you can then take home and you can use it all year, like I feel like I provided value. So we try to I get it where it sometimes can be a budget thing, but I believe that you have to find a way to have the margin to be able to then take that margin and invest in ways other than just like a pen or something, because that's not going to be memorable. And people remember, like, everybody knows Michael Jordan, not everybody remembers Horace Grant, right? Two superstars, but you remember the one that stood out far beyond everyone else. So that's kind of the impact we try to make with this.
And you can put this in your own you can put this kind of ideology into your business
Absolutely.
by giving gifts that are memorable and useful to your customers.
And that is something that, because we were able to, I feel like we were able to learn so much from Gary Vee, that's something that we try to then, through our actions, we hope to inspire the businesses in ways that they can then do that, like you said, for their own customers. We really liked what Tintwiz did. Can we do a version of that for our customers and so on?
I love it. Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See ya.
Head over to detailersroadmap.com and get your one-stop success solution today.